On the morning of June 30th, 1908, something extraordinary happened in the heart of Siberia. In one of the most remote and uninhabited regions of Russia, without any warning, the sky suddenly lit up as bright as the sun. Moments later, a massive explosion shook the land. People were thrown to the ground from kilometers away. Windows shattered. The earth trembled. Yet there was something deeply strange about this event. There was no war, no bomb, and most importantly, there was no crater. What happened that day became known as the Tunguska Event, one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in human history. Eyewitnesses described seeing a giant fireball crossing the sky. Some said it looked like a second sun. Others claimed the heat was so intense it burned their faces. Then came the shockwave, powerful enough to knock people off their feet hundreds of kilometers away. The real devastation, however, occurred deep within the Siberian forests. An area of more than 2,000 square kilometers was flattened. Approximately 80 million trees were knocked down, all lying in a radial pattern, pointing away from the center of the blast. But when investigators finally reached the site years later, they noticed something unsettling. Despite the enormous destruction, the ground itself was almost untouched. No impact crater, no massive fragments. Due to the remoteness of the region and political turmoil in Russia, a scientific expedition did not reach Tunguska until 1927. Nearly 2 decades after the explosion, what scientists found was baffling. Trees near the center were scorched but still standing upright. Farther away, entire forests had been blown flat. This suggested that the explosion had not occurred on the ground. But high in the atmosphere, the most logical explanations soon emerged. A large object from space, a meteor or asteroid, had entered Earth's atmosphere. But unlike typical impacts, this object never reached the surface. Instead, it exploded mid-air due to immense pressure and heat. This phenomenon is now known as an Airburst. Scientists estimate the energy released during the Tunguska explosion to be between 10 and 15 megatons of TNT. To put that into perspective, the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima was only 0.015 megatons. That means the Tunguska explosion was hundreds of times more powerful than Hiroshima. So if science has an explanation, why does Tunguska remain such a mystery? Because critical questions remain unanswered. Why was no large debris ever found? Why was there no crater? And why did the event produce such unusual atmospheric effects? In the days following the explosion, skies across Europe glowed at night. People reported being able to read newspapers outdoors at midnight. The atmosphere itself seemed altered. Some scientists proposed that the object was not a solid asteroid, but a fragment of a comet composed largely of ice. If true, it could have completely vaporized upon entering the atmosphere, leaving little physical evidence behind. But not everyone was convinced. Over the years, far more controversial theories emerged. One of the most popular claimed that the explosion was caused by a crashed alien spacecraft. According to this idea, an extraterrestrial vessel malfunctioned and detonated above Siberia. However, no credible physical evidence has ever supported this claim. Another theory pointed toward Nikola Tesla. Tesla was known for experimenting with wireless energy transmission and once claimed he could send enormous amounts of power across vast distances. Some believe that Tunguska may have been the result of a failed or uncontrolled Tesla experiment. Again, no proof exists to support this idea. Even more extreme explanations followed. A microscopic black hole passing through Earth, an antimatter collision, energy from another dimension. While fascinating, these ideas remain purely speculative. As technology improved, Tunguska was studied again and again. Soil samples were analyzed. Tree rings were examined for signs of radiation. Satellite imagery was used to map the damage. Today, the scientific consensus is clearer than ever. The Tunguska event was most likely caused by a stony asteroid or icy body that exploded in the atmosphere before reaching the ground. The energy from this airburst spread outward, flattening forests without leaving an impact crater. The Chelyabinsk meteor of 2013 provided a modern comparison. That object was much smaller than the Tunguska body, yet it still injured over 1,000 people and damaged countless buildings. If the Tunguska explosion were to occur today over a major city, the destruction would be catastrophic. Tunguska serves as a powerful reminder. Earth is not as protected from cosmic threats as we often assume. And sometimes, the most violent events in history can occur without leaving obvious traces behind. Perhaps, that is what makes Tunguska truly unsettling. We likely know what caused it, but we may never know with absolute certainty, and maybe some mysteries were never meant to be fully solved.